The best way to create a legacy is through a book. That is why the leader in integral beauty, CEO and founder of Global Integral Beauty, Idalis Bailey, has designed the book Global Experts in Integral Beauty with the purpose of connecting professionals worldwide who inspire and transform the community of health, wellness, and aesthetic professionals. Through this bestseller book, you can reach millions of people, increase your brand's credibility and visibility. Position yourself as a global expert in holistic beauty by sharing your story and career path in your own chapter of the book, Global Holistic Beauty, Second Edition.
My background is nutrition science. And today I'm going to be talking about considerations for your 40s and beyond. So it's beauty from within that shines from the outside, if I would like to refer that to the whole beauty concept today. So I am a UK registered nutritionist with the Association for Nutrition, and I've been practicing since 2003, so 20 years. My background was mainly Olympic athletes. So I came to Hong Kong to work with the Olympic athletes here in Hong Kong. But more recently, I've moved into the women's wellness and women's health space, predominantly in the perimenopause and menopause stage of the life cycle. And I've designed and created and I deliver currently a program called Reset 40, which is a 12-week online nutrition and well-being program for perimenopause and menopause. And this is something that's close to my heart because I became menopausal at 32, so 11 years ago, due to chemotherapy and radiotherapy for cancer. So I've created a program that I wished was available when I was going through it, so that women can feel their best going through their 40s and hopefully improve their long-term health post-menopause as well. And I am the wonderful mother of these two crazy kids, Alfie and Stella. So that's a little bit about me. And I live in Hong Kong, have done for 8 years. And I will continue on with my talk. So 1.2 billion women and trans and non-binary people will experience perimenopause and menopause worldwide. Although perimenopause and menopause is not a disease, it can greatly affect a person's quality of life. So what is perimenopause? Perimenopause currently seems to be a fantastically a big buzzword because it's the new kind of unknown period before your final menstrual cycle. So it is a phase of irregularity in our menstrual phase, in our hormones. It gives off so many symptoms, and I think there's over 30 currently known symptoms, which range from weight gain to anger, anxiety, to itchy skin, to bloating, mood swings, depression, many different things. It can start 10 years before your final menstrual period, but some women breeze through it. Some women have it so severely that they may take their own life. They may end up in divorce. They may leave their job. And then you have the people in the middle who just struggle with it and move on. So it's a very big buzzword with many different things to consider at this stage. It's also really difficult to diagnose. And generally it's diagnosed via symptoms, which women have to record on a symptom tracker and take to their doctor to be an advocate for their own health, because some of the symptoms are so general that doctors historically have been either sending women away and telling them they'll just get, they'll get over it, or have been giving them, antidepressants to get on with it. when actually having maybe some HRT or some nutrition and lifestyle management tips that may have helped the situation. So hopefully, by being this buzzword currently, we will see a change over the next 10 years in the awareness and the care for perimenopause for people at this time. So what happens after we're 40? So we have this wonderful sex hormone called estrogen. We also have two others called progesterone and testosterone, but estrogen seems to be the main player in this stage of the life cycle. And as we can see, post 40, our estrogen levels start to drop. And by 50, they've halved, and then by 60, and 70, they're almost gone. So if we think about estrogen receptors, and we have them all over our body, we have them in our brain, around our heart, around our pelvic area, our gut, this can be greatly affected. And again, like I said, some women feel okay, and some women feel really, really poorly. Hormone tests can be unreliable, unfortunately, because your hormones will not be the same even in the morning as they will be in the evening. So it's really hard to diagnose perimenopause when you still have your menstrual cycle, even though it may be irregular. It's still really challenging to use this as a test. So doctors may still use it, particularly if you are younger than 45. They may also use your blood to measure your thyroid function during this time, because it can play a part. But generally, your symptoms are used to help diagnose perimenopause. So it is important to find a good symptom tracker online, maybe in the United States. You may have, menopause websites that you can find a symptom tracker on. And if you need one for your use within your clinics, maybe I can email you one as well after the webinar. So here are just some of the symptoms that people may experience. So obviously the irregular period, so this fluctuation, this roller coaster, vaginal dryness, hot flushes, which is probably the most commonly known from maybe your mother or your aunt or your grandmother has gone through this stage of life, and they're always complaining how they're going through the hot flashes. Sore and tender breasts, you get hot or cold chills, so you're either hot or you're really cold. Night sweats, so vasomotor symptoms such as also palpitations. Sleep problems are caused generally by the thermoregulatory system, so causing overheating, which wakes you up and causes the night sweats. Headaches, weight gain, and weight metabolism, which is probably the number one symptom that brings women into my clinic, is not being able to shift the weight during their 40s, and just at the end of their tether with it. Mood changes, so being happy and sad and crying for no reason at all. For you beauticians, thinning hair and dry skin, so it's really important to be aware of this stage of the cycle with hair and skin. And memory problems can be a real issue for a lot of women, particularly in their 40s, when hopefully they're trying to be like you, Adalis, and others within the community here, at the pinnacle of their career, maybe taking on a new business or being a CEO, and then you're suffering with brain fog or memory problems. It can be a real issue. So there's three key health considerations that I wanted to highlight today that are associated with this menopause transition that a lot of women don't know. So number one, cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of morbidity and mortality in postmenopausal women. Most women think that it's breast cancer, but you are 9 times more likely to die of cardiovascular disease postmenopause than breast cancer. So it is very, very important that we become aware of this. And this is because as our estrogen levels start to decline, our cholesterol levels, our total cholesterol levels start to rise. And this can lead to a buildup of the fatty plaque in our arteries that help to control, our cholesterol levels. So once this fatty plaque starts to build and our arteries become less elastic, then the blood, it's so much harder for the blood to flow through, which raises our blood pressure as well. So it really is important. And this is a graph that I retrieved from The Lancet by Vogel et al. 2021. And as you can see here, men have a higher risk of heart attack or cardiovascular disease up until the age of 45, where women overtake men. And then women are more at risk than men, even post-menopause, because of this loss of estrogen within the body. Secondly, osteoporosis, so our bone health. Osteoporosis is the most prevalent disease in menopausal women and is strongly associated with low quality of life. So as our estrogen receptors again start to drop, and this is like I said at the beginning, such a natural phase of life, our bone mineral density can lessen. So we have our peak bone mass at approximately 35 years of age. And then once our estrogen receptors start to decline, if you see here at the blue part of the graph, it starts to lower gradually. 10% of a woman's bone mass is lost in the first 5 years of the menopause. So it's really important that we are aware of this so that we can put things in place to strengthen our bones. And lastly, studies have shown that there's an overall reduction in our brain energy levels during the menopause, which can trigger a host of cognitive symptoms. So if you look at the brain here, we have estrogen receptors and testosterone. They play a significant role in our cognitive memory, in our, and our cognitive function. So as these hormones start to decline, we experience memory loss, confusion, and brain fog, which really affects our quality of life. So I've taken this scan from the most recent New York Times article by Dr. Lisa Mosconi. She's an Italian neuroscientist, and she has done incredible work to highlight the difference between premenopausal and postmenopausal women. So if you can see here, the energy, which is the red area of the graph of the brain, there's lots of energy going on premenopausal, and then there's less energy going on postmenopausal. So it's really important that women again are aware of this, because we can put things in place to help control and improve our brain health and moving into perimenopause and menopause. So what can we do? Nutritionally, there's many things. The first thing is increase your whole grains, fruits and vegetables. So increase your fiber intake. And fiber is a carbohydrate. And most women during their 40s or even in their 30s, they're going on fad diets, to name a few, keto or, things like this. And this can really disrupt your good gut bacteria, which can increase the risk of type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and many other diseases. So it is important that we keep eating the right type of carbohydrate, which is our fiber intake. So our whole grains, our beans, lentils, nuts and seeds, for example, are really, really important. Then increasing our healthy fats. So using extra virgin olive oil as a source of fat when we're cooking is an excellent choice, and drizzling that over, cold salads and using as a condiment is a really, really good way of using extra virgin olive oil. Omega-3s from our oily fish, and then nuts and seeds have great oils and fats, and so does avocados, for example, which hopefully in the US are in abundance. So This is really what we would call the Mediterranean style of eating, which has been the most researched to enhance our health and reduce cardiovascular disease, improve our brain health, and improve our bone strength. So this is the type of eating that I would highly recommend. Then I would also recommend reducing processed food and convenience food. You know, food is in abundance at the minute, and particularly at the end of a food app, it can be at your house within 5-10 minutes, and nothing good ever came fast. So it is important that we eat whole foods. We try and cook at home as best we can. Using frozen foods and even tinned foods is a great substitute for fresh. As well, rather than the convenience of the processed foods, the sugar, and the alcohol. So I would reduce these things to try and boost your heart health and reduce cardiovascular disease and other associated diseases with this area. To manage our bone health, so in addition to strength training, for women, strength training is super, super, super important, particularly in midlife. So forget pounding the pavement and trying to do all this endurance work and, you know, getting on the treadmill and pounding your legs. You know, endurance exercise, walking is really, really good for all of your health, but strength training to build impact and to build your bones is really important. Nutritionally, to support this, we need to increase our calcium at this stage of life. So our calcium needs increase, and this doesn't necessarily have to be just from dairy. So those who may be vegetarian and vegan, it can be from soy, fortified soy products. It can be from green leafy vegetables. It can be from nuts and seeds, from cereals and tofu. But for those who do eat a balanced, well-rounded diet, you know, having sardines with the bones can be a really good source of calcium, and then dairy can be an excellent source of calcium as well. Our protein needs increase at this stage of life as well. So before midlife, our protein intake as an adult would be around 0.75 grams per kilo body weight, so less than 1 gram of protein per kilo body weight. But as we move into midlife, our protein needs increase to approximately 1.2 grams per kilo body weight. And protein, again, can be a range of sources, from animal-based sources such as, you know, healthy fish, white meat such as poultry, and then red meat once or twice a week. Plant-based proteins are incredible. So coming from chickpeas and beans and lentils, this is something that I would highly recommend that you all try to get in your day, because plant-based proteins also contain a great source of fiber for your good gut bacteria. So I would always recommend clients to have at least one plant-based protein a day. It could be black bean burritos, it could be black bean tacos, it could be a lentil chili or a lentil bolognese, for example. So having one plant-based meal a day is great for your gut, which can improve your heart health and your brain health, which I'll talk about in a second, but also help to boost your bones as well. And lastly is your vitamin D, because vitamin D is so important for our bone strength, and vitamin D and calcium work as a team. Vitamin D helps to absorb the calcium into your bone to strengthen it. Hopefully you do get some sunshine in the US, wherever you are, and getting out into the sunshine for 20 minutes a day, particularly in the morning time, is a great way of getting vitamin D through your skin. Unfortunately, some skin types don't absorb vitamin D from the sun very well, like darker skin types. So you may need to take a vitamin D supplement. So it is worth getting that tested via a blood test to see if you are deficient in vitamin D. But it is recommended that you do consume about 1,000 international units per day as a woman to help with absorbing that calcium and strengthening your bones. So getting out for a walk in nature in the morning is a great way of getting it. But if you are suffering from deficiency, definitely a supplement is necessary here. You can get vitamin D from some foods, nuts and seeds, and maybe some egg yolk and tofu and things like that, but it's very minimal. So a supplement or sunshine is definitely the best way to go. And lastly, our brain health. So we can improve our brain health by increasing our fiber intake, like I mentioned before, because our brain and our gut are connected physically by a nerve along the spinal cord called the vagus nerve. And it is, really important that we eat great sources of fiber so that it's broken down, absorbed by the gut, and those neurotransmitters, particularly serotonin, which 95% of serotonin is manufactured within the gut, and it's known as our happy hormone, which can control our sleep and our mood, which is really important in midlife. So eating really good sources of fiber is important, and we can get that through our fruits and vegetables, our nuts and seeds, and our grains, but also these antioxidants and vitamins that we get from eating a colorful diet really help to boost our brain health and our mood. And I always recommend to clients that they take 2 colors at each meal. Okay, so that could be mixed berries in the morning with your breakfast. That could be a mixed salad, a colorful salad for lunch. And then in the evening time, it could be something as simple as broccoli and peas, or sorry, broccoli and carrots, or sweet potato and broccoli. So it shouldn't be challenging. I know it can be for some people, but it is important that we do try and eat a very colorful diet. And again, then we have our healthy fats. So eating our olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, our avocados, our oily fish, and our nuts and seeds. So we can really boost our health during midlife. It's not all doom and gloom, but it is important to be aware of the health risks so that we can put things in place nutritionally rather than, just leave it up to nature and just eat what we want and then we don't feel so good. So it is important that we help ourselves as women if we want to be successful in our 40s and our 50s. And that's it really. I thought I talk a lot, so I thought that would be enough. But if you would like to know a little bit more about my Reset 40 program, you can go to reset-40.com. I am always available to answer questions at hello@ldnutrition.net, and you can follow me on Instagram at ldnutritionist.